This is a story of the boy who broke his head but went on to become the greatest leader of the world. Doctors said that the boy will never be like others again. But the boy met five extraordinary people who taught him five extraordinary lessons, which helped him become better than the rest of the world, and in fact become the greatest leader. The first person the boy met was the monk. The monk taught the boy the art of focus. The monk placed his hand in the head of the boy and took his mind to the mountains. The mountains were beautiful, covered with snow. The monk asked the boy to take some deep breaths. As the boy took some deep breaths, his mind calmed down. The monk asked the boy to sit quietly and count the birds. The boy started counting the birds and he enjoyed the focus he had. Towards the end of the day, the boy realized his first lesson. The art of focus is just to be distraction free, as if we are in the mountains. But the boy had a doubt. He asked the monk, how can we remain distraction free in today's world? It's so difficult. The monk replied, the idea is not to remain distraction free. The idea is to limit the distraction to a particular time, schedule the distraction to a particular time. So that we can worry, we can look at social media, we can do all those things are distracting us in that particular time, and the rest of the time is available for us to focus. The boy understood this first lesson and he started improving his focus. With the enhanced focus, he started going back to school. But he was not able to cope up with his studies. One day he was crying. A teacher saw him. He came near the boy and asked, what happened, dear? Why are you crying? The boy looked at the teacher and said, sir, I'm unable to cope up with my studies. I'm unable to read and I'm unable to understand what is written on the textbooks. The teacher understood the boy's problem. He took the boy to his cabin, asked him to sit. Then he gave the boy a book and said, read the first chapter. As the boy read the first chapter, towards the end, the teacher gave the boy a white piece of paper and said, now close the book and write down everything that you can remember, everything that you can recall from the first chapter. The boy did it. He struggled, but he did it. Then the teacher said, now open the book and write down everything that you could not recall, you could not remember. The boy did as the teacher said. The teacher handed over the white paper to the boy and said, now go home for 4 days, revise it once in the morning and once in the evening, and come and meet me after 4 days. The boy did the revision for 4 days. At the end of the 4 days, he was amazed. He was so happy that he could remember what he had studied 4 days ago. He went to thank the teacher and asked him, sir, how did this happen? The teacher smiled and replied, there are 2 points which you should remember while studying anything. First, active recall. It helps in memory formation and it develops our understanding. Second, systematic and timely revision. Because 70% of the information we study, we read, we forget it within the first 24 hours. From that day, the boy became good in studies. Next, the boy approached the brightest student of the class and said, hey, smart boy, I have a very poor memory. Can you help me with my memory? The student looked at the boy for a second and said, Okay, tell me a question. Do you remember if anybody has taken any money from you and has not returned it yet? The boy said, yes, my neighbor took 20 bucks from me 3 months back and he has not returned it yet. The student smiled and said, you see, you can remember it for more than 3 months. Who said you have a poor memory? You just need to have more motivation to remember things. There is nothing called poor memory, only a trained or an untrained memory, the student said. The boy said, oh, I never thought it this way. How can I train my memory to be like yours? The student said, let us play a game. The student gave few cards to the boys which has photos of different people, their profession and some other information about their profession written on it. He handed over the cards to the boy and said, try to remember as much information as you can. After some time, the student took the cards back and showed the cards one by one to the boy and asked him to recall whatever information he can remember. The boy could not recall the names or any other information, but yes, he could recall the professions. This is a policeman. This is a baker. This is a doctor. The boy was surprised. He was amazed. Wow, at least I can remember their professions. How did this happen? The boy asked. The student replied, to train your memory, you have to do two things. First, visualization. Our mind thinks in terms of pictures. If we try to visualize whatever we are reading, whatever we are doing, whatever we want to remember, we can remember it for long. For example, it is difficult to visualize the names, but it is easy to visualize the profession. Policeman, a doctor, a baker, isn't it? The second point the student said, is that the power of association. Whenever we learn something new, we should try to associate with something which we already know. For example, we know what is a policeman. What does a policeman look like? We know how does a doctor look like. It is very easy to associate with something new. This, for example, the name of the people or the new people, we can associate this. And this becomes the next lesson, how to improve our memory. The student took the boy to his guru. The guru was sitting in his room full of books and he was reading a book. The boy saw that the guru was reading very fast. He was shocked to see the speed with which the guru was reading. He asked the student, is your guru really reading a book? The student replied, yes, my guru is a speed reader. He reads one book every day. But the student had some doubts in his mind. He asked the guru, doesn't speed reading takes its joy away from reading? The guru replied, no. In fact, speed reading give you more joy because you have the flexibility to read very fast when the information that you're reading is not very important or not very interesting. And at the same time, you can start reading very slow or reread whenever the information becomes interesting or important. This brings out more joy out of reading. The student said, can fast readers comprehend well? The guru said, yes, in fact, better than the slow readers because while reading, their mind cannot wander here and there. The boy asked one more question. Isn't speed reading very hard? The guru replied, no, it is not hard because speed readers are trained leaders, and if you're trained to do something, the task becomes easy. The boy was satisfied, and the teacher taught him the art of speed reading. With all the four skills that he had learned, how to focus, how to study, improve his memory and speed reading, the boy started shining like a star. The leader spotted this boy and chose him to be his successor. The leader taught the boy the art of thinking on the principle of six hats, six thinking hats. So, if we have a problem, we can think about the problem in multiple directions. How? First, put on the white hat and try to gather as many information possible about the problem. Then put on the yellow hat and think about the problem in a positive way, or the positive things the problem has. Then put on the black hat and think about the negative aspects of the problem. What are the negative sides of the problem? Then you put on the red hat and think about the problem emotionally. Bring out your emotions and think about it emotionally. Then you put on the green hat and you turn on your creative mode. Think about the problem creatively. Can you solve the problem with some creative ideas? And at last, put on the blue hat and turn on your management mode and think about the problem as if you are a manager. Now, when we tackle any problem with six different angles, tricks, six different strategies, right, we get the best solution. So the boy learned five lessons from these five extraordinary people, and he went on to become the greatest leader of the world. Well, this was a fictional story, inspired by the book Limitless by Jim Quick. If you liked it, thank you. Please share it. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel and share it with others. Bye bye.